look at it. You could look at it and be thankful and take full advantage of the opportunity, or you could look at it like, dang, this is what I've been asking for. I'm not prepared, So I would say I've been able to sleep good at night, knowing I was playing. I didn't know I was playing till, I don't know, one of the days that was close. and then, I just prepared it as normal. But it was definitely that switch and it kicked in. And when you out there on the field, it's different. Like, you understand, ball's ball. The ball never been a problem.
To go through two individuals to insert yourself as, the starter, Dylan Gabriel, who's now the second quarterback at hand, and then obviously Joe Flacco. And when you consider those things, it's like, what situation is better?
But he didn't know that he was going to wind up in Cleveland.
No.
He didn't know that. He opted for what was behind curtain number 2 rather than the known curtain.
The Cleveland Browns are already in full-on panic mode, starting the season 0-2. And their head coach looks like he's practically on his knees begging Shedeur Sanders to swoop in and rescue them. Forget contracts, forget logic. This is survival football at its wildest. When a franchise starts cold-calling college quarterbacks like it's a charity hotline, you know the panic button's not just pressed, it's shattered. This whole mess is already funnier than the Browns' playbook and twice as embarrassing. Instant karma doesn't just tap you, it blitzes you like a linebacker flying off the edge with no warning. For Kevin Stefanski, it's not just a sack. It's a blindside knockout that leaves him flat on the turf. He strutted into this season like he had the answers, brushing off Shedeur as if the kid was just another college quarterback waiting for cafeteria lunch.
Shedeur by London. It's bad, y'all. It's really bad. I'm ready for Dylan too, though, y'all. I understand that Dylan is the number 2 quarterback on the roster. That's what I'm saying. Put him in first and then let Shedeur go get his. Y'all, eventually they're going to put Shedeur in. They're not just going to stick with Dylan Gabriel the rest of the season. I don't see that happen. Yes, I'm ready for Dylan because when Dylan gets in, that means Shedeur's closer to getting in. That's what I'm ready for. At this point.
But 2 games in and 2 ugly losses later, suddenly the big idea is to rip up the plan and go crawling back to the same quarterback he acted like didn't matter. Oh, now it's convenient? Now the desperation light flickers on like a busted stadium bulb. That's the brutal thing about karma. It doesn't whisper, it roars in surround sound. You shove Shedeur aside, act like your clipboard has all the answers, and then watch those answers fold quicker than a dollar store lawn chair in a thunderstorm. The Browns' so-called playoff offense now looks like they never even bothered to install a playbook. Fans are booing, rivals are laughing, and Cleveland is already writing obituaries for the season. And suddenly, Stefanski remembers that maybe, just maybe, the quarterback he pushed off as an afterthought could actually be the savior.
Leash on the Cleveland Browns and what is going on in Cleveland. Sickened by what I saw offensively from the Cleveland Browns. I went back, watched the film, and I almost threw up. I mean, what is going on with the Browns team right now? In the first 2 games, they have an NFL low 2.4 yards per carry in first halves. It's abysmal. Cleveland has also dropped 5 passes through 2 games. That's tied for the most in the NFL. And this is the first time in Browns franchise history that they've started 0-2 while outgaining.
That's not strategy, that's pure panic dressed up in khakis. What makes this circus even funnier is how fast the script flips. One week the talk is, the Browns can tough it out with what they've got. And the very next week, they're out here fantasizing about Shedeur swooping in like a Marvel hero, cape flying, erasing every dumb call they made. That's not planning. That's pure desperation dressed up as a daydream. It's like saying you don't need a fire extinguisher, only to sprint for one after the curtains are already blazing. You mocked the extinguisher when it was right there in the room, and now you're gasping through smoke. The optics couldn't be uglier. It's the coaching version of unfollowing somebody on Instagram, then crawling back with a friend request once their page blows up. Nobody's fooled by the act, and this isn't just karma smacking Stefanski. It's karma checking every critic who laughed at the idea of Shedeur being NFL ready. The same voices that said he was all hype, all smoke and mirrors. They're now sitting through Cleveland losses where quarterbacks can't even keep the offense breathing for 4 full quarters. And suddenly, those haters got real quiet, scrolling through Shedeur's stats like students cramming for finals, praying nobody digs up their hot takes. But here's the problem. The internet never forgets, and karma saves screenshots. Shedeur doesn't even need to touch the field yet. His shadow alone is haunting this team. It's like the ghost of competence hovering over Cleveland, reminding everyone what they pushed aside.
Star defensive end Myles Garrett says, "This is embarrassing." He's mad about it, and everybody else should be fired up about it, but Stefanski's just keeping the same coach approach that he always does in press conferences. Me, I'm pissed off. It goes further back than this. Now the turnover battle has been lost in 9 straight games. That dates back to week 12 of the 2024 season. Cleveland hasn't forced a turnover since week 16 of last season. What are we doing? And all we're doing is giving up turnovers. Did you see the Flacco pick when he was...
You know it's rock bottom when a guy not even wearing your jersey yet has more impact than the starters sweating on the field. The crowd is chanting his name before he even sets foot in the tunnel. This isn't just desperation, it's straight-up humiliation dressed up as hope. It's like failing your driver's test twice, then begging the instructor to take the wheel for you. Fans aren't even shocked anymore. They're numb, hardened by decades of déjà vu heartbreak. The Browns always manage to find new, more creative ways to collapse. And Stefanski's latest act is crawling back to the same quarterback he once shrugged off.
I feel like Stefanski is 1,000% a lock to get fired. Andrew Berry is sort of safe, y'all. Hear me out, y'all. He's sort of safe. I think this year's draft picks might have made him safe. Think about it, y'all. He secured us a D tackle, the best D tackle in the draft. He secured us a linebacker, might be the best linebacker in the draft. Then he went ahead and drafted us 2 cold-ass running backs. Quishon Judkins already showed on Sunday he's going to be serious. With the 2 rookie quarterbacks, you got to figure out who can move your franchise.
But here's the wild part. Does he even realize what he's setting himself up for? Because if Shedeur actually steps in and lights it up, it doesn't just rescue the team, it completely exposes Stefanski. Suddenly the question becomes, why wasn't this move made from the jump? Suddenly, every excuse he's been hiding behind melts away, and the storyline flips into one giant neon billboard that screams, "Coach didn't believe until he was cornered." That's not leadership. That's survival mode. And in the NFL, survival mode is just code for your job is hanging by a thread. The fans see it, the locker room sees it, the league sees it. Stefanski isn't rallying troops. He's clinging to the last lifeboat as the ship tilts.
Kept saying all summer, and you guys kept yelling at me, why are you playing a 40-year-old quarterback? What is the point? What are you trying to get out of this? Why are they doing this? Well, here you go. You're playing a 40-year-old quarterback who can't move, who can't defend himself. The Ravens are dropping 7 into coverage and saying, all right, Joe, what are you going to do? What's Joe going to do? Nothing. Like, that's why there's nobody open. The Ravens weren't even blitzing yesterday. And part of it is the offensive line. DeJuan Jones, this is a major opportunity for DeJuan Jones to make himself a lot of money and prove to the Browns he can be a franchise left tackle.
It's instant karma playing out on a massive stage, so wild it feels like a script somebody wrote for primetime. The coach who once bragged he could win without Shedeur can't even scrape wins with his own handpicked starters. The same guy who thought standing firm made him look tough now looks like he's bending in every direction, desperate to fix the wreck he created. It's the NFL version of leaving the house without an umbrella, only to get soaked and pretend you don't mind, while sprinting through the storm to buy one anyway. What makes this whole mess even sweeter? The timing. It's picture perfect. The same coach who once rolled his eyes at Shedeur is now stuck running mental scrimmages where Shedeur is literally the only answer. That's instant karma served up in Cleveland's own brown and orange misery. And the haters? They can't even clown anymore. They're too busy choking on their pride while watching the Browns unravel in real time. Stefanski isn't just begging for help. He's begging for forgiveness. From the fans, from his locker room, and maybe even from Shedeur himself. But here's the thing about karma. You don't schedule it, you don't edit it, and you sure don't get to flip your stance after the damage is done. You either believed from the start, or you get dragged face first through the mud later. And right now, Stefanski is knee-deep, flailing around, trying to convince everyone that this mudslide is part of the master plan. That's the comedy show Cleveland has become. And this is the moment the circus sets up its tent. Because after Joe Flacco's performance against the Ravens, calling it bad feels way too polite. That wasn't just bad football. That was the kind of disaster where you start wondering if the man wandered in by mistake thinking it was a backyard charity game. Baltimore didn't even need to sweat. They just stood around grinning while Flacco launched passes like postcards headed to the wrong zip code. The Ravens' defense stayed in cruise control, yet Stefanski wore the look of a man watching his entire career burn in slow motion. The board saw it, the fans saw it, and even Flacco probably knew it in real time, staring at the scoreboard like, why am I still out here trying to revive an offense that flatlined right after the coin toss? And that's when the whispers turned into shouts. And those shouts, they weren't just frustration anymore. They were a full-blown chorus echoing through Cleveland like a siren.
You watching the game, Chad, there's a lot of Shedeur Sanders fans. What did you think of his first outing?
Listen, all the talk and the narratives and the storylines and whatever you want to say, sooner or later that ball's about to snap. And that young man we watched in Colorado, who's one of the best football players in the nation, is now looking like one of the best football players in the nation at another level. That's what it was. I knew the collusion and all the stuff, like I said, you want to go through. You saw what Shedeur Sanders was capable of. We all knew what Shedeur Sanders was capable of, and he's going to show that he should start there. Flacco's there. Kenny Pickett was hurt. That little itty-bitty boy from Oregon, whatever his name is.
Fans weren't booing plays. They were booing the whole operation. Every incomplete pass, every stalled drive turned the stadium into a soundtrack of anger, drowning out whatever scraps of confidence Stefanski had left. It's one thing to lose. It's another to lose ugly in front of a fan base that's been burned so many times they can spot failure from miles away. The chance for Shedeur hit harder than any tackle on the field. It wasn't just noise. It was a message clear as day. We're done with excuses. Give us the quarterback you laughed off. And here's the part that twists the knife. Shedeur doesn't even need to throw a single pass to win the city over. His name alone has already stolen the spotlight from every quarterback on the roster. The hype is bigger than the playbook, bigger than the coaching staff, bigger than whatever excuse Stefanski tries to spin in the press conference. The Browns are stuck in the ultimate nightmare, begging for a savior while realizing the only guy who can save them is the same one they dismissed. That's not just bad optics. That's career suicide in slow motion. Cleveland isn't watching a football season. They're watching a coach unravel, while a quarterback not even in uniform yet owns the entire conversation. And trust me, the league is eating this up like popcorn. Rival teams are laughing, analysts are circling like vultures, and every sports show in America is replaying the Browns' collapse on a loop. Cleveland isn't just losing games. They're becoming a punchline, the reality show everyone can't stop watching.
Was going against some backup Ravens defenders. They had pulled some starters, and the Ravens were obviously, not trying very much. But Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good in his one drive. His touchdown pass was a nice throw, like getting it up over the safety or the corner, whichever it was. So that was encouraging. I feel like we kind of talked about this heading into the season and like where a good point to see Dylan Gabriel in the, or eventually Shedeur, at least just one of these rookie quarterbacks. And we kind of had our eye on like that week 7 matchup against the Dolphins.
Think about it. 2 weeks in, and the story isn't about strategy or adjustments. It's about a desperate coach begging for the same quarterback he brushed off. That's not just embarrassing, it's historic. You've got former players shaking their heads on TV saying, "We've seen dysfunction before, but this right here? This is next level." Even rival fan bases are trolling. Steelers and Ravens fans are online posting memes of Stefanski holding a help wanted sign with Shedeur's face on it. The internet turned the Browns' misery into a comedy festival overnight. And once the memes start flying, there's no taking them back. They stick harder than any loss in the standings. For Cleveland, this isn't just bad football. It's a franchise crisis playing out on national television. The team doesn't look like a playoff contender. They look like a cautionary tale about what happens when pride blinds you to talent. And the cruelest twist? Every time Shedeur's name trends, it's not because he's on the field. It's because the Browns can't function without the idea of him. Get Shedeur Sanders. That's the order. Clear, loud, and final. Enough of the experiments. Enough of the quarterback carousel. Enough of pretending some washed-up vet can carry this franchise on his shoulders. The board finally slammed the hammer down, and Stefanski, who'd been clinging to his busted plan like a guy smacking a broken remote hoping it'll magically work, had no choice but to fold. The joke is that his stubbornness is the very thing that dragged Cleveland straight into this disaster. Instant Karma Part 2. Ignore the board, ignore the obvious, and watch your season burn before fall even hits. And now, here's the plot twist. The same Shedeur Sanders Stefanski wanted no part of suddenly looks like the only lifeline left. With pressure closing in from every direction, the coach is finally preparing to put the kid on the field. Not because he's a genius with some master plan, not because he suddenly saw the light, but because the board is done with his stubborn act.
Shedeur went through and what you went through. Tonight, watching tonight, does it make it almost more meaningful than just a football game?
I'm not going to say meaningful. We've already spoken like 3 times a day. We just got off the phone joking and clowning like crazy. But he's so prepared right now. A lot of people are approaching it like a preseason game. He's approaching it like a game. And that's how he's always approached everything, to prepare and to approach it like this is it. I just can't wait to see him get down tonight. But it's going to be a little weird.
Nothing screams your job is dangling louder than being forced into the one move you swore you wouldn't make. And the irony? If Shedeur balls out, Stefanski loses control of the entire narrative. If Shedeur struggles, the blame circles back like a boomerang, straight to the guy who kept him glued to the bench in the first place. Either way, the coach looks finished. The optics are brutal. Imagine being so out of sync with your own front office that they have to strong-arm you into making the obvious move you resisted for weeks. It's like a teacher ignoring the one smart kid in class, letting everybody fail the test, and only after the damage is done, finally pointing to the kid who knew the answer the whole time. If Shedeur steps in against the Ravens and lights it up, all the credit instantly shifts to the board as the real masterminds, while Stefanski gets branded the stubborn roadblock who wasted 2 games pretending he knew better. But if Shedeur struggles, the critics will hammer Stefanski anyway, asking why he wasn't developed earlier, why he wasn't given a chance to grow before things got this desperate. Either way, the coach ends up as the villain who fought against common sense until the moment his career was hanging by a thread. This isn't karma tapping him on the shoulder. It's karma smashing him with a steel chair, WWE style, in front of the whole league. The Browns board already made their stance clear. Their investment, their reputation, their entire season isn't going to die on Joe Flacco's endless 2-yard checkdowns. They'd rather gamble on Shedeur, and honestly, who can blame them? Even Flacco's most loyal defenders had to admit that watching him stumble through that Ravens game looked less like football and more like a farewell tour nobody wanted tickets to.
He's a ball player, fellas, and I love that he went out there. You can say what you want about that man. Sooner or later, that ball's about to snap in the middle of that field between that 100 and that 53, and we're going to see what football's about, and Shedeur showed.
Yeah, no, Shedeur showed up. What, in the words of Denny Green, he is who we thought he was. This is the same person we've seen the last 4 or 5 years, from Jackson State to Colorado, always poised. I'm not just talking about on the field. He's always poised off the field. The interviewers, these reporters, they try and rattle him. You get all this stuff on social media. He's always Shedeur Sanders, smiling, respectful, knowledgeable, and that's what you get. Dion did.
And the timing makes it hilarious. 2 weeks in, and Stefanski has somehow alienated his board, infuriated the fans, and thrown his career straight into a blender. Meanwhile, Shedeur doesn't even need to dominate. Just strapping on the pads, jogging onto the field, and taking a snap is enough to flip the energy in Cleveland. It's the spark of something new, something fresh, something that doesn't reek of desperation pretending to be leadership. The fans aren't demanding perfection. They just want hope. They want to believe in a future that doesn't involve watching Flacco age in real time on national TV. And if Shedeur gives them even one flash of brilliance, he won't just win a game, he'll win the entire city. And now the spotlight isn't just on Cleveland. It's on every sports show, every headline, every debate desk in America. The Browns aren't just playing football anymore. They're starring in a soap opera where the ratings spike every time Shedeur's name is mentioned. ESPN runs segments asking if he's the savior. FS1 has panels screaming about whether Stefanski should even survive the month. And social media is roasting the franchise like it's open mic night. Cleveland didn't just lose control of the season. They lost control of the narrative. And the wild part? Shedeur hasn't even thrown an NFL pass yet. Think about that. One college quarterback, not even suited up, has more power over the city than the guys actually wearing pads on Sunday. The hype is so loud, it's drowning out the games themselves. That's not just pressure. That's a tidal wave crashing over a coach who's already gasping for air.
Obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things. But I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better, and that's what we'll stay committed to.
And here's where it gets dangerous for Stefanski. If Shedeur comes in and delivers even a little flash, the board, the fans, and the media crown him the future on the spot. And if he doesn't, the coach still eats the blame for waiting too long, for wasting time, for forcing Cleveland to suffer before finally listening. This isn't football anymore. It's a public trial. The evidence? 2 ugly losses, 1 angry city, and a rookie quarterback treated like the Messiah before he even steps on the field. For Cleveland, this season isn't just about wins and losses. It's about survival, reputation, and whether their head coach can withstand the storm he created. So Stefanski's predicament couldn't be clearer. Play Shedeur, and you look like you've caved to the board. Then cross your fingers the kid bails you out and makes you look less foolish. Don't play him, and you risk another ugly loss that could turn the fan base into a full-on riot. This is what instant karma looks like when it grows legs, marches into your locker room, and takes over the playbook. The man who once refused to listen now has no choice but to obey. And in the process, he's gone from leader to passenger on a runaway train he no longer controls.
Are you ready for Gabriel? I am. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. Are you ready for Gabriel? It doesn't matter. All right, give me a can I believe it's something, for God's sake? Nah, you're going to see plenty of Dylan Gabriel this year.
Will I get to see my guy?
Yes. You'll see plenty
will
of
I get to see Shedeur?
You'll see plenty
Do
of
you think now, Chris, after this start, Shedeur is going to start
The Browns' season stopped being about football weeks ago. Now it's about whether Stefanski can even survive the fallout of his own stubborn pride. And the irony? It's brutal and beautiful at the same time. The quarterback he resisted, brushed aside, and dismissed as an afterthought is now the one who could either save him, destroy him, or maybe both in one swoop. Every snap Shedeur takes is either Stefanski's lifeline or his obituary. Either way, the circus keeps rolling on, and the supposed ringleader looks more like the clown with every passing drive. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you on the next one.